When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gane, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gane.
And we're going to talk about how you can use LOA to be on time.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
I hope my dad
things...
listens to this.
We're going to talk about like procrastination, being on time, deadlines, things like that. So a little mix, but all around being the element of time and showing up and that kind of thing. So
yes, I'm so excited. Yeah.
What else, Cass? What are you excited about?
I am excited because, in this moment, I'm just going to say it. Pay After You Manifest is coming back.
It's coming back, people. It's coming back.
I know. I'm so excited. It was inspiration, and it hit in sort of a weird moment. Not weird, but there's just, when we were talking about timing, like there is no magical, this is when, and these are the circumstances of inspiration. And I'm just excited because it feels so good on so many levels. Like, I know what gets created in that energy. I know who I am now versus 7 years ago. And I just put the timing together. So cool.
Tell our listeners what it is, for those who don't know.
So you're going to be able to start learning to manifest money with me. You're going to be able to start manifesting money with me, have all the assignments, have coaching, and you get to say yes, and you get to pay me 10% of what you manifest rather than having to pay up front.
I think this is so cool.
I know. I love it. And I love who I get to be. Like, that is what's the funnest part, I think, this go round is that I know this works. So there was never any hesitation before when I had inspiration to do this. But it's deeper, like, knowing now. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be so good because I have this ultimate trust, even deeper trust. It's not just faith. I'm saying yes to this. It's like a deep trust that, oh yeah, this is going to be amazing.
That is so cool. And also my favorite part of this is that there's this, people tell you that people need to have an investment in order to get a result. And you're just like, no, that's not how it works.
Yes.
I get to do what I want. It's a great example that like anything works as long as you're aligned with it. And that's what I love.
Oh, me too. It's so true. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes it is a financial investment makes it. But what I know is there has to be a investment of doing it, right? Mm-hmm. I have been paid and people have not done the work. And so I know that often
and that's
that is true. Go ahead.
Satisfying to it. That's not satisfying to us, guys.
It is not.
We are in for your transformations. That's what we are there for.
Right. It is not as fun to get money if someone doesn't do the work, I will tell you that. And so
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So I know it's possible because people still have to invest in themselves. They have to invest their time and their energy and the belief that, okay, I can do this. And oh yeah, I will pay 10% of what I manifest. And so there's always an investment. It's just how we define it, which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What are you excited about?
I feel excited about this time of year. It's wonderful. I feel excited because last month in our tribe, I hosted a little fun challenge, and it went awesome. And I got to incorporate part of something that I've been really excited about lately, which, as some of you have been following my Instagram know, I've got some new essential oils. And been playing with them and putting together little concoctions, and I'm coming up with a Live Your Truth blend because all the oils have this emotional connection to things. And I'm super excited about that and getting that out to more people and for them to just have fun with that, add it to the manifesting what feels good to you for your alignment. So that feels exciting.
I'm so excited about your oils for a lot of reasons.
Because you really want to tell that story, don't you?
I do, but we're not going to tell it today. We don't have.
No. All right, because we're going to talk about time and LOA.
Time and LOA, I love it. Okay, so we definitely, just to kind of give a little recap, is we're going to focus on being on time. We're going to talk about procrastination. Was there one more?
Like deadlines and things like that.
Absolutely.
I actually just want to start with like what happened before we got on the phone. And so
yes,
because it gives just a great example. It's a good set point. So once in a while, when Cass and I are scheduled, we'll say, hey, I need 5 minutes. Hey, I need 10 minutes. And there's literally, it's like 100% okay. And I can't even count the amount of times where it's like, oh, perfect. I needed 5 minutes too. Yes. Great. I needed 10 minutes. Or even if we're rescheduling a day, oh, that works out better for me. I know my clients experience this all the time. It's like, if there was a reschedule and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, is there conflict? I'm like, oh, that's perfect. It works out great for me, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And it just happens all the time when you give it the space. You got to trust the timing of things that are coming up. And if it affects this set time, that's this, apparent set time, but there's no such thing as time in the universe. But anyways, won't go there. So Cass was like, I need 10 extra minutes. And I'm like, great. And it was like, a little bit after. And what's that?
It was longer than 10 minutes.
It was longer than 10 minutes, but one of my friends gave me a call and she's like, we've so very rarely connect. And I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for a call from Cassie, but I'm going to pick it up. And I just said, hey, I'm waiting for a call from Cass. She's like, oh, I just wanted to connect with you. And I wanted to let you know one of our friends' fathers passed away. And I'm like, oh my God, this was such an important call for me to pick up and connect at this time. And then 5 minutes later, Cass called. And so things like that happen for a reason, and they flow when you let them and when you assign the meaning without any judgment that I'm sure it's working out perfectly. I'm sure this is meant to be, or I know Cass doesn't love meant to be, but I'm sure this is, right for some reason.
Right. I'm sure this is creating something awesome.
Yes.
Right. Or leaving space for something else. Or I'm sure this is one that's great.
Working out perfectly.
Yeah, working out perfectly. I'm sure this is leaving space for the other person. If you're somebody who's gets really stressed about that, about having to reschedule or do 5 minutes here or do that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the amount of times, like, I've been practicing this for years. And one of the I very much value being on time. Like, if I have a call, I like to call on the dot. My clients make fun of me. And if it's their first call, they'll be like, wow, you're very precise. I'm like, yes, I am. This is my work. It's important to me. And so you can have both experiences. So being very flexible and trusting timing doesn't mean you're lax or passive about it. It just means when it's not easy to honor that, you're not choosing to stress about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because it's all about how you react to it, right?
Yes.
If there's a judgment, you can't be in the flow because you won't even see it if it is working out, right?
Yes.
But
so the moment you put that judgment on and say, something's going wrong, this isn't right, I'm going to be late, this is going to be bad. Those are all judgments. And they happen so quickly sometimes.
Yes. Or even it might have, I don't know how long it took, because I want to say that, it was just always felt good to be like, I need 5 more minutes, or this, right? And I don't know that that's true, because I especially when it comes to my work, I'm more on, like, I like to be on time the same. And so, but with practice of it being okay and learning and getting on and sharing those conversations about, oh yeah, like that was perfect because I needed 5 more minutes to finish this up. You know, both gives you permission and like builds that understanding that, yeah, like we can be on the same time, but it doesn't have to coincide with the clock.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great way to look at it. I don't know if I've ever thought of that. Is that we're both on time, but it's not about the number that we set.
Right. It's about when our energies are coming together and when really we're available too. Because often, you know, when we talk, you know, we start talking about those 5 minutes that you and I need. Sometimes we're in the middle and you need that 5 minutes to finish out what you're doing and to transition, you know. And so really allowing us to have that 5 or 10 minutes and be very flexible and honoring of each other is allowing us to be more present with what we're doing when we get here.
Yes. I want to talk about too where it comes up, like if you have a doctor's appointment or a chiropractic or something where you have a time and you're stressing to get there, the stress is not going to line up the experience you want. Like you literally, and nothing's going to change. Like you stressing the 20 minutes you have to drive there isn't going to change. It's actually going to detract from your experience versus doing your absolute best to talk yourself into an easy feeling place. It's not, when you choose to trust the timing, you're not saying I don't care. And I think that's why people don't want to do that. It's because on some level, they think it means if they let that go, their judgment against themselves go, it means they don't care.
Right.
That's not what's happening. What's happening is you're saying, I care how I feel, and I know how I feel is going to create the best aligned situation for me.
Yes. And that is so true, because you could spend so much time in that judgment space. You're not allowing for anything to be created. You're not allowing inspiration on the other side. So if you are late, like you're not allowing for the inspiration to maybe take the person who's a couple minutes early, right? Your forcing is sort of forcing everything else to be backed up instead of being in that trusting place.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I will say, I do remember some times from my childhood where it was stressful. Come on, we're late.
Right.
And I get that sense, you know, when you're carouseling kids around, you have to give them a little more, you're talking a little more like that, but then you can relax once you're in the car and you can relax. But as soon as that pressure or the stress about getting ready because we're late is released, things flow smoother. Your kids will get in the car quicker if you're not in anxiety about the getting there.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you will
you would know.
I would know. Yes. It's way, if you're stressed about it, it's almost like somehow they have this opposite energy of like, they're going to dig in because you're putting out this fear of like, oh, we're going to be late. You're putting that. And so what they're doing is reflecting that in action. Like they don't know that, but they almost go slower, but it's not conscious. They're not trying to get to you. They're creating the story, we're going to be late, which means if they move slower, we're going to be late, right?
Yeah.
The same thing happens with green lights. It is so interesting. If you are stressed about getting there, you're going to hit more red lights because you're not in the flow. It doesn't feel good. I can attain
to that. And I'm like, damn it, you need to think green light.
Right? I used to have a song, because I think we're going to talk a little bit about the pattern of being late, but, so because you said, if you can talk yourself into like feeling good about it or getting into the flow, right? And so instead of talk myself into it, I just like had a little mantra song, and it would be like, I'm on time, I arrive at 7:29. And I was just like, because I didn't want the energy to be on, oh my God, I'm late, like, and to go into that judgment place, right? And so it worked all the time. Once I started doing it, it worked all the time because it releases that focus and it puts you where you want, like the focus on what you want. I'm on time. This is what time I'm getting there. Like it's going to be perfect, you know?
Yeah. That's amazing. One of the ideas that always in an instant releases it for me, and I think my dad told me this when I was young, you know, when we were stuck in traffic or something, and he's saying, you know, what if we're meant to be right here? Like, what if by being in this slow traffic, we're avoiding a car accident? And I know that's not like the most LOA way to do it, but it grasps an understanding of just taking that bigger picture and saying, hey, you're not the center of the whole universe. Well, in a way you are, but like there's other things going on,
right?
And we can relax into this. It's okay.
Yes. Well, I think when we relax into that general, like it's all working out, it's a completely different, there's no reason to be stressed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to add, like we have the potential to feel that way very often in our life. Like that's one of the greatest perspectives we can take in any situation all round is like, you know, and my clients know it's one of my favorite things to say, you know, things are working out for me. And to really know that. And after years of living consciously, you do know that,
right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to go back onto that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do we want
to let's talk about the pattern part.
Oh, okay. So I think it's important to recognize at the same time everything's working out. If there is a pattern, like if you are always late, like becoming aware of that so that you can choose to change it, right? Because you can choose to be like, oh yeah, this is who I am. Here's the pattern and I'm okay with it and I'm not going to do anything. And
it might not be important to you.
Right. Especially if you look at it and you're like, oh no, I'm just always, you know, whatever, being more present, or I'm finishing something up or whatever. Mm-hmm. What I found with me is more often than not, I had way too much going on in my life. And so when I would finally stop, and this was years ago, like probably starting 10 years ago, I started realizing this and changing it. But I was always going so hard and so fast that when I would stop and there was a moment, I wouldn't want to get going again. And what I started to realize is, oh, I like space and time, and maybe I need to get more of that in my life. And so it wasn't that I was being disrespectful to anyone. It wasn't that I couldn't get my life together. It was that I wasn't meeting my own need of not so many things and having more space.
Yeah. That kind of makes me think of too, say if we're on the opposite end of this, so we're on more of the receiving end of someone being late, maybe just don't go directly to the judgment of their being disrespectful. Right. You know, like what if there's a bigger picture in the universe happening? What if this is for you and you can relax into this? Like, what if, just like Cassie and I were talking about, there's something else being created here that you don't know yet. And but by you judging that, holding the judgment that they are disrespectful, firstly, that just doesn't feel good to you, like within you. But then you also block the whatever could have come from that space. For yourself and for them. Maybe you were going to receive a call or a new thought or new idea about something that's really important to you, but because you spent that moment in resistance judging, you don't get to line up with that.
Right. And you're also not seeing. So, you know, generally if you're someone who's on time, I have found, often you're somebody who's early, right? And so, you know, I remember having this conversation with my friend very early in my 20s. She's like, you know, you're 20 minutes late. I'm like, I'm not 20 minutes late. I'm 10 minutes late. You were 10 minutes early. Like, that doesn't count against me. Like, we can have a discussion about the 10 minutes, but the other 10 minutes is on you, right? And you don't get to, and so, you know, that's if you're early, like using that space, finding a way to be in that space, because I have shifted who I am and often I am early now. And one of the things I realized about myself is, you know, I felt like I didn't have anything to do if I was early. Right. And so, interesting on the other side. Right. And so I would, I'd usually try and cut it really close, to be on time. I'd try to be on time, and sometimes I would miss. And so from that other perspective, it's like, oh, how can I enjoy this moment that I'm sitting here?
Yes.
And what can I think about? How can I let myself be at peace? What can I imagine? Just how can I be more present in this moment, and be okay? And from that, working both angles of that previous story, like realizing I had too much going on in my life, and also opening up the space of, I can sit here and enjoy while I'm waiting on anyone, really improved my being on time.
Right. Because you weren't resisting the experience anymore.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about procrastination.
Yes.
So I don't believe in procrastination.
Me either.
Okay. And this, even though I say that confidently now, there are still times when I'm procrastinating, or, labeling it as procrastination, when I have to like really work with myself and say, look, this is okay. This is good. There's just not alignment yet, and like go down that path, versus like the opposites, like got to get this done. But, So if there's no procrastination, Cass, what is there? How do you explain it?
There's inspiration, and there's perfect timing. And perfect that's not, by sort of like, a checkbox definition. There's just perfect timing. But I think there's inspiration and there's energy. And I just had a thought I want to come back to, because I want to ask you, what is there, before we go into that?
When I think of procrastination, I just think a lack of alignment. Yeah. I think when you're ready for the thing you want, then you're effortlessly called to it. Then it's happening.
Yeah.
So let's say there was let me give an example to make it make sense. There's a book you want to write, and you're procrastinating writing it, right? So what I would say to that is, you're not lined up. You're not being that person yet. You're not lined up with experiencing being a writer or something like that. So that's what I wouldn't focus on, trying to write the book and trying to control the action. I would focus on trying to be a person and lining up with how she feels and how she lives, and finding your alignment that way, and then see how much you're procrastinating.
Yes. I love that. And I think because when you line up, you might figure out, like, the book's either going to come or it's going to go away.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the book. And it's interesting, because I was thinking about this weekend, there was a book that I started writing maybe around this time last year. Oh, yeah. And then it felt pressure, and I let it go. And I can see why it was not the book that I wanted. To be released in January of 2020 was not the moment for that. It definitely...
And you only know looking back.
Right. And after seeing history and what unfolded this year and everything like that, and it definitely, I mean, first of all, it wouldn't have had time to take momentum, because I think the world sort of took a different... There was a... I don't know, like a
turn.
There was a pause, right? There was a turn, but there was also a pause in, I think, a lot of things. And so, any momentum probably would have been lost. And also it didn't fit the times. Like, I still love it. And I thought about it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to finish that for whenever. But I was also like, oh yeah, it definitely wouldn't have landed in 2020. It wouldn't have been good, because it would have, it would just have been overshadowed.
Right. So procrastination, instead of viewing it as a negative thing, view it as guidance.
Yes. I always say that.
Yeah. All right. So what about, Cass, though, if there's something we have to get done? What if we have a job and there's this project on our plate and we've been putting it off and putting it off? Or what if we're at school and we have a paper to be done and we've been putting it off and putting it off?
I love this question. So, and this is coming from someone who, her junior year in high school, there was a group project that we had all quarter to do. We spent from 3:00, I think it was due on a Friday. We stayed up all night to finish it, literally. We came home from school, and we finished it all night. And Deadlines
are great inspiration allowers.
Yeah. And so what I know about that is it gets done. So there is what I would say is that it's going to get done. And the more you let go, the more you stop the conversation about I'm putting it off, I should be doing it, I have to get it done. Like the more you just set that aside, the more you're allowing inspiration in. It's going to get done. Whether you have to stay up all night as we did and finish it, or whether when inspiration hits, it's a very easy, quick 15 minutes or an hour, depending on the project, right? It's going to get done. And when we let go and we trust inspiration over forcing, it gets done a lot faster and it's just more enjoyable. And sometimes, we were talking a little bit before, I do believe it's energies coming together. I don't believe it's just about me. So for example, like this weekend, I had a lot of people that joined my workshop, this was a couple weeks ago, the day before and the day of. So naturally, there was a reason why it wasn't flowing earlier. Like I knew what I was doing, but there were things I wanted to do. And the reason those energies must have had something that they needed to contribute, whether that's on a conscious level or just in it to be able to create. Those needed to be there. And I trust that.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love that example. I was just talking to one of my clients too, who she had this thing going over in her mind. She was, on her plate to do. And I think we do this often, just like what you said, Cass. It's like we think about how much we have to do it. Yeah. And if you could just let go of that, it will come. The inspiration will come a lot quicker and easier. But she had this thing to do and she didn't want to bring it up to her team. And, so she's like, pushing and pushing and pushing, and then she's like, okay, what I know what to do here. And she let it go. She wrote a new story about it. She's like, I'm going for a bike ride. She went for a bike ride, came back, she had the meeting with her team, and she was a little worried about, what are they going to say, what are they going to think of this, I haven't prepared enough. They're like, oh, we love it, we love this idea, it's perfect. Oh, can I do that part of it? Oh, I will take and do that research. And she was like, oh, okay, so you're taking it off my plate. Yeah. And you want to, and you feel really good about this. Okay, great. And then it was like another piece came in where someone called her and offered her the solution that she was looking for, so she didn't have to find it or anything. But it took letting go a little bit, took getting out of that vibe of like, I'm not doing it.
Yes.
In order to be able to line up with it.
Totally. And it feels so easy. Like your story. The story, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's what so she easy, said, right? Like, I don't know. Said, yeah.
Oh my God, is this feels too easy? That's what she said.
Yeah, which is amazing when we let things be easy. And step one of letting it be easy is stopping the story about the fact that we're not doing. Like, if you're not doing it in this moment, I finally learned about myself. Like, I can stare at the screen for 6 hours and, get a little done. Or I can do it when it's inspired and it takes a half an hour.
Yeah.
It's my choice. Absolutely. How I want to spend the other 5.5 hours of my life.
Yeah. I had that experience this morning where I knew I wanted to get something done today, and I'm like, oh, it probably is not going to fit in the time I have in the morning before yoga. And I deliberately made like my stuff. I did my stuff first, and then I went for a walk, came back, got the idea on the walk, put it all together. It was so inspired. I felt so amazing. Got it out to everyone, and I'm like, oh, that's how that works. It was just so another example of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
So how to use LOA to be on time is truly about trusting timing and knowing what's important to you. So you're allowed to value being on time, and then I kind of want to say go with the flow. And it doesn't mean you're giving up what's important to you. It means you're making how you feel the most important.
Yeah.
And trusting that.
Yeah. I might say trust the flow.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Me too.
That's great. All right. Well, have a great week, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Is not being able to manifest successfully holding you back? Like, you know there's some piece that you're missing. I get it, and I can help. And I would love for you to be successful before you pay me to help you. So if you want to learn how to make the law of attraction work for you and manifest more money, go to payafteryoumanifest.com for all the information and to apply for my program that starts January 1st, 2021, where you get access to me, the Enchanted Circle, and my program, Manifest 10K, which has helped thousands of people manifest millions of dollars, all to start complimentary, and you get to pay me based on your success. Go to payafteryoumanifest.com for all the details and to apply.
Go be awesome!
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.